FTT is the medical terminology for failure to thrive. Mhm. I had never heard of FTT until I gave birth to my youngest daughter in 2011. My youngest daughter's name is Zoe, and she was a twin. And I lost her twin in my second trimester. And so after Zoe was born, she was 6 weeks premature. And after she was born, we had to go to her pediatrician every other day for weight checks. And after several weeks of going through weight checks, going to the doctor every other day, her doctor diagnosed her with FTT, failure to thrive. Now, I can remember the day of diagnosis as if it happened earlier today. And I can remember the doctor saying that she has FTT. And I remember specifically asking her, what is FTT? And so she said, FTT is failure to thrive. And I just cried. I cried. Single mom. This is my fourth baby. And I was doing everything that I could do in order to get my baby to eat and keep her formula down, get my baby to gain weight. I followed all of the prescriptions. I followed the doctor's advice. I did everything in my power to feed her every other hour, to burp her, to follow the doctor's orders. I did everything that I possibly could, but my baby was still losing weight. And I followed the advice of the doctor. I mean, we tried all different kind of formulas, right? And nothing settled with her. I even tried to nurse her. Nothing settled in her system, and everything that went down came right back up, and she wasn't able to maintain her current weight, and then she started to lose weight aggressively. And even after following all of the advice and the orders, even getting on special formula, my baby continued to lose weight. And she came home with a diagnosis of failure to thrive. They even gave her a home nurse because of this diagnosis. I remember this as if it happened earlier today. FTT. Nothing I was doing was working. Nothing that I was doing was good enough. Feeding her every hour on the air hour, and still nothing worked. And I'm sharing this with you because many of you may have a diagnosis. Your baby may have a diagnosis. Your child may have a diagnosis. Your marriage may have a diagnosis. Your businesses may have a diagnosis. Your relationships, your partnerships may have a diagnosis. You yourself may have a diagnosis of FTT, failure to thrive. Yeah, I'm sharing my story with you because as a testimony and as a witness to you, I'm sitting in the parking lot right now. I just dropped off Zoe, who's 13 years old. I just dropped her off. Dropped her off at basketball practice. She's 13 now, going to the eighth grade. Healthy, basketball player, football player. She throws the disc and the shot put. All cap GT classes. Fun, loving, full of life. That's why I had to name her Zoe. Zoe means life. Just dropped her off at basketball practice. So I had to come and share my testimony that if you've ever received a diagnosis of FTT, failure to thrive, there is a God in heaven that is the healer. There is a God in heaven that gives the final say, that has the final say, that gives the final diagnosis. There is a God in heaven that heals, that will heal your mind, your body, and your spirit. There is a God in heaven that delivers. Yeah, there is a God in heaven that snatches us out of the pit of hell. There is a God in heaven that is the ultimate doctor. Yeah, the great physician. If you've ever received a diagnosis, I'm here to testify and be a witness to you. Mhm. Yeah, God is, God can, and God will. Be encouraged today. Be encouraged today and know that you have someone that's standing in agreement for your healing, standing in agreement for the healing of your children, your babies, standing in agreement for the healing and restoration of your relationships and your marriage, standing in agreement with you. Be encouraged today. Yeah, that God is God. And beside him, there is none other. Be encouraged.